Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Badass Unscripted. Thanks for tuning in, so happy to have you here. Here's what amazes me about the Agile universe. In fact, any kind of new innovation or even new philosophies in business, when they hit the ground, they explode and they kind of splatter everywhere. And we don't assume at any point there's a settling in, a breaking in point, and then like an evolution. Agile has to evolve. When I first started in the industry, I was in computers when I was younger because my best friend, because I had an English degree, he says, "Well, listen, if you want to write, you should do technical writing." And he handed me an old 386 computer and said, "Here, learn like Windows and learn Word and Office and all that stuff, because that would be a viable career path." This is back in like the early 90s, right? So this was like a great time. Things are really booming in technology. And so at the time, that computer had MS-DOS 6.0 on it. And it was understood that if you wanted the benefit of using a computer, you had a big noisy box sitting in your room with a clickety old keyboard, no mouse. And if you wanted to open a file, you had to know which directory it was located in, and you had to know the commands to navigate that directory, then to load that file. And then if you had to do any advanced stuff like clean up your hard disk, make more room, or configure a device, you had to, increase your skill level. And that was just to do rudimentary things like open a file, look at it, go wow, do some word processing, launch a program, and print a document. Now the next thing that happened is that Windows comes along and abstracts all of that complexity. So basically, if you want a file, you can look at the file, point at it, click on it, the file opens. Same thing with an application. You didn't have to know the commands to format a hard drive. There was a visual interface that you could go, click the disk you wanted to format, choose the right command from a drop-down menu, and voila, you're formatting your hard disk. So now all of a sudden, the skill that's required to do the same tasks has gone way down, so now we can do more things. Now we can save that brain power, that learning curve, and apply it to other, more interesting things. So now we're at the point where nobody has got a big noisy computer and a big heavy keyboard. You don't put on your resume, "Hey, I know Windows." That stuff is table stakes now. That stuff is either extinct, it's gone, or things like computer literacy or office proficiency is just the same thing as saying like I know English. So as technology changes and as we learn and internalize the skills, the tasks, it's expected that we commit those things to muscle memory, and those become the foundation of who we are and what we're capable of doing. So now we can move on to the more complex skills. So now, not only do you know how to use a spreadsheet application, but you know how to balance budgets. You can focus your skill on things of more value. And isn't that the Agile way? And yet with Agile, we still think that the most important thing we can do is teach Agile skill, Scrum skill, Kanban skill. Those things definitely matter. But what are we doing to up the game? At this point, agility is something that everyone is talking about. It's something that everyone has at least a sense of what it is and how maybe to do it. So as practitioners and as leaders, we need to be looking now at advancing the craft. In my mind, that means two important things. Number one, focus the organizations that you work with on not making the same Agile mistakes that we have made in the past, which is don't try to make the whole organization Agile. The days of saying we are an Agile shop should be over, because not everything can be done with agility. There's some things that at this point we realize we should offload them, we should outsource them. Let's move these functions to the cloud. Let's not build this stuff. So for example, if you spend a lot of money trying to agilize customization projects where, it's really big bang, it's lights off, lights on, and there's not a whole lot of iteration to be done in the middle, and yet we try to force Agile on those kinds of initiatives sometimes. To what end? Do we really make things better by doing that? And often the answer is no. So maybe we should move those things to software as a service implementation where, the configurations are really easy. It's a pressing of a button, it's a quick request, and somebody else handles getting it done. That allows us to focus our agility efforts on products that we deliver to the marketplace for our customers, or internal initiatives that, because they're flexible in scope, because the budget is flexible, we can have 30, 60, 90-day MVPs that deliver real value internally or to the marketplace. Now, the other thing that we can focus on is spreading Agile practices outside the IT realm. I've mentioned that again in 2019, my big focus is on getting Agile away from the coding room and into the halls of, the legal department, finance, human resources, human capital, knowledge development, and general enterprise-wide service improvement. Because at this point, knowing how to co-locate, knowing how to iterate, knowing how to stand up and do retrospectives properly, those things are table stakes. Those things are the MS-DOS. They're the layer underneath the layer. We should be doing those things well now because they're simple to learn. What's required if you're not doing them well is fidelity to the practice. Doing it every day, continuously improving. What we should be focusing on is eliminating the hybrid versions of Agile that are so watered down that they're not Agile anymore. They're waterfall with little bits of Agile lipstick painted on top of it. Nobody's buying that. You're not fooling anybody. Get rid of those things because to want agility only as something that you staple on top of a waterfall project is usually a symptom of the fact that what you're looking to do is find that magic bullet that we've been talking about for over a decade now to make your own internal slow processes and people appear faster. And it's not working, and at this point we agree it's not working. So let's put Agile where it does work. Willing minds and projects that fit. I've said it 1,000 times. If we can't move on from the way we've been trying to do Agile in the past decade, we are failing to innovate. You're continuing to use MS-DOS. You're spending 10 minutes trying to open a file when the evolution of technology has allowed us to move past that and spend that 10 minutes on higher value, higher quality things. Listen, I go to conferences and seminars now, and in general, every single presentation on an elegantly simple concept like agility, like iterative development, somewhere somebody is showing a line chart, a bar graph, a pie chart, because we're trying to introduce too much science into the simple fundamentals. Guys, Agile wants to be simple. Agile must evolve. Willing minds, projects that fit. It's not about what we do. It's about who we become. Keep that in mind in your practice this week and ask yourself this simple question. Here's something to take forward. Where can I reduce the waste of trying to apply Agile where it doesn't fit? Square pegs and round holes. You can save your company money and time and frustration today by doing simply that. The other question to ask is where can I move and spread Agile where it doesn't exist today, but where it truly belongs? Projects with flexible scope, projects with flexible budget, project with willing minds. If you want to increase your Agile win rate, trust me, there are tons of opportunities within your organization in the non-IT sphere where you can hit home runs today by applying the simple practices of Agile, Scrum, Kanban, Lean. You can be solving problems in an hour instead of 6 weeks. You can be proposing solutions based on existing technical frameworks, highly available software products, and applications. That's what we should be focusing on with Agile at this point. So my challenge to you is to get out there and level up this week. Help this community evolve Agile. We don't need more knowledge, we need more action. Folks, thank you for being true believers. I look forward to seeing you out there. Don't forget to find me on Instagram at BadassAgile, on Twitter at badass_agile, and also you can look on meetup.com for Toronto Agile Leadership, whether you're in the Toronto Metro or whether you want to join some of our meetups by Instagram. You should be part of this community. As always, you can find me in the podcast at worldwideweb.badassagile.com. Thank you. I love you all. I'll see you next time.